The story of Frank, Emily, and Amy is a beautiful tale of love and family. It begins with Frank, a greengrocer who sold fruits and vegetables in the city of California. He had a kind heart and was always willing to help people in need. As a result, everyone who knew him loved him. One of those people was a girl who bought apples from him every day. She wanted him to know she liked them. The American noticed the girl's routine at his shop every day. Then he realized she was attracted to him, and he felt the same way about her. In fact, from the very first day he set his eyes on her, he had fallen in love with her. Although he was not shy in front of her, he didn't just know the right words to say to her whenever she came around. As a result, they never really had a conversation. However, that changed on one chilly but rainy evening. On that night, the mysterious girl came to buy some apples, like every other time. Just as she got in front of his shop, she tumbled. Immediately, Frank ran towards her and picked her up. "Hey, are you hurt? My name is Frank. Do you mind coming to sit with me in my shop?" he said as he smiled at her. When she got to his shop, he gave her something to clean herself up. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell for more amazing stories. She was very grateful for his kind gestures. She told him her name was Emily, and they spent hours talking together. Throughout the time they talked, the rain was pouring heavily. However, they paid no attention to that. They were completely drawn to each other, and at some point they hugged and kissed. At that moment, something became obvious to them. They realized they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. That same evening, they started a serious relationship. They were both in love and were eager to spend every moment together. As a result, they lived under the same roof. Frank and his girlfriend enjoyed living together, and 5 months after they met, they tied the knot. A few months after they found out they would have a baby girl, the couple was so thrilled and anxious at the same time. For Frank, he couldn't just wait to have his little girl in his hands. He looked after his wife and did everything to make sure she was fine. Finally, the day came for her to have their baby delivered. Thankfully, she gave birth to the baby girl with no problem. When Frank and his beloved wife saw their daughter for the first time, they were so happy. And holding her in their hands gave them so much joy. The little girl was so gorgeous, and with joy in their heart, the couple named her Amy. They took proper care of her and made sure she lacked nothing. Together, they lived as a happy family with little or no worries. However, a few years later, something happened they never expected happened. After a visit to the hospital, the doctors diagnosed Frank with an incurable illness. He could no longer walk and had to be in bed for several months. It devastated Emily. However, she told him they should keep the truth about his illness from their 4-year-old daughter. She told their sweet little girl that her dad lost his hair because she shaved it off every day. The woman hoped that with time, her husband would get better. As a result, she would no longer need to tell their daughter the truth. Unfortunately, as the months went by, his health continued to deteriorate. At point, they realized they could no longer hide the truth from Amy. She already knew that something was wrong with her father. Even though Amy was still very young, she was unhappy that her mother and relatives hid the truth about her dad. She understood that her father was really ill and knew his health was in grave danger. On that account, she found it ridiculous that they lied to her and told her everything would be fine. One bright morning instantly turned dark when Frank passed out because he couldn't breathe well. It was at this point they told her what was really happening. That evening, it was Frank himself who told his precious daughter about his critical condition. From the beginning, he never wanted to hide the truth from her. He believed she deserved to know what was wrong with him, just like the others. Frank knew his daughter could understand that he was in a terrible state and told her everything. When she heard the truth, she was sad and couldn't hold back her tears. During his days, she became his closest friend. She would pray for him, talk to him, and feed him. Sadly, the young girl was the only one who treated him naturally. Frank was treated with pity by his wife and relatives, and this made the man feel horrible. All he wanted was to be treated like he was still normal. He didn't want anyone to feel sad for him. Amy was the only one who understood him. For this reason, he wanted her by his side every time of the day. They spent time together playing, talking, and watching telegrams. For the dying man, he cherished those moments with his daughter as they helped him forget about his incurable sickness. However, they both were still aware that the chance of survival was very slim. Time to say their final goodbyes was drawing closer each day. It was inevitable. And on one cold evening, the father and his daughter knew that the heartbreaking moment would be upon them soon. No words were said. They did nothing but hug each other as tears came running down their cheeks. They knew that even though they would no longer be together physically, their hearts and souls would remain united forever. The next morning, Frank called his wife to say goodbye to her. He knew his time on earth was almost up. In between tears, he said to his wife, "Baby, I won't be around anymore. I want you to keep caring for our daughter when I am gone, and I want you to know that I love you very much." Emily, who was also in tears, was completely taken aback by her husband's words. She knew he was right, but refused to accept his fate. It was also difficult for his family members to accept what would happen to him. But there was nothing they could do. A few days later, Frank passed away peacefully in front of his wife and daughter. Emily lost it and cried hard while little Amy wept silently. There was peace in her heart because she knew that this day would come. It was a bittersweet moment. She missed him dearly, but his suffering had finally ended. Amy would never forget him, as he would forever be in their hearts. On the day of Frank's burial, his entire family was in tears. Amy could still feel her father around her, but the pain she saw in her mother's eyes and other relatives made her happy. For one last time, she wanted to be physically close to her dad. So she asked her mom for permission to hug him in his casket. Her mother refused at first, but later allowed the girl to say the last goodbye to her dad. Amy hugged her dad and felt his cold skin. However, she didn't cry. The next few words she said made everyone around full of tears. "I will always love you, and I will remember you forever. Goodbye, Dad." Just as she kissed his forehead, an unbelievable miracle happened. A faint smile appeared on his pale bluish face. Emily and every other person in attendance couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. It was truly a miracle. Frank gave one last memorable proof of how much he loved and cherished his daughter. This made Amy very happy, and she lived with that beautiful memory for the rest of her life. When she came of age, she told with pride what happened on that special day. Sadly, no one believed that her dad smiled slightly at her from his coffin. Amy never forgot about her father, and she kept loving him. She cherished the amazing moments they shared for the rest of her life. Her father continued to hold a special place in her heart. What do you think about Amy's story? Share your thoughts with me in the comments down below. Till next time, stay safe. Binding bonds through beautiful tales. Thank you for watching.